Oh,
And
shit.
here we are live, people. The State of the Union address.
State
for
of the Union. We're going to keep this all YouTube friendly.
We're going to try.
We're going to try our best. We've been doing a decent job.
Yeah. The weird thing is the just so you know, the stuff on YouTube that I'm getting knocked on is not like swearing, and it's not the health, it's not the weight loss stuff. It is literally the stuff about COVID. You know, like, I mean, it's amazing.
I don't even say the word. I'm cool. I'm just like, hey, there was some shit that went on in 2020. Here we go. Now we got to fix it, you know?
Yeah,
and
I agree.
There's nothing I can do. There's nothing we can do. We can't go back to the future, but we cannot rewrite history. And that's why I say, like, we need to blame who made this happen. We need to blame who made this happen. At the end of the day, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if they say states' rights. At the end of the day, it was that fateful day when Pence and Trump got up there and say, we're just going to take 15 days. We're going to flatten the curve. That's when it all started. That is when he sold out the country. Sorry. It is. And if he intended to or not, that's what happened. And to think that the governors weren't going to use that as an opportunity to claim emergencies and basically just completely be tyrannical leaders in their government, there's no way in hell that wasn't something that crossed their mind. And somebody wrote on Twitter today, they're like, well, at the time it was the best option. I'm like, in what world was that the best option? And what, like, I remember, I wish I would have followed you back then, but you were so dead on. You're like, guys, you can't just pause the Constitution. You can't just hide from a virus. It's just not going to work. I was dumb at the time. I was like, I didn't know how serious it was, but I literally went on, an Instagram live, and I was walking my dog. We were living in an apartment waiting for our house to be built. And I was like, dude, I don't care what the risks are. I don't know what the risks are, but y'all need to get out. Kroger's paying $21 an hour. Go stock shelves at night. I want you to work harder than you've ever worked before. Don't wait for the government to save you. Go work. And because of that awe-inspiring just bastion of freedom and prosperity, I got death threats and I got shadow banned on YouTube. So, I mean, sometimes, you know, being the voice of reason, at the end of the day, I would literally give my life right now. I would literally take a bullet right between the eyes to make sure that my family lives long and prospers.
Absolutely.
So if there 100%. Was, if I had to walk out of this house every day and face zombies like existed on The Walking Dead, and just to get to work and to provide for my family, I would definitely do that. Unfortunately, America is weak. Men have become weak. Men have become weak. Women are actually stronger than men. You look at who actually made this all not go away, but actually fought it. Who was at the school board meetings? The women, the moms. Women have become more masculine than men. And that's our problem, is that women can be masculine. We all have traits of masculinity and femininity. But when women have taken the place of men because men have become feminine and weak, that's when a society will fail. And we're there. We're there right now. We have no men left.
No. I just looking at it like in retrospect, like looking back 3 years ago, like I was always like waiting for like, well, people aren't going to do that. Like I definitely overestimated people's intelligence, bravery, like drive for freedom. Like that's my problem. Okay. And people get so upset when Mark and I talk about Trump. They get so mad because,
but we have integrity and we're consistent. Like I posted on Instagram something I never do. I posted something about Hunter Biden should go to jail. And I said nothing about Trump. I literally said, hey, I'm with you guys. I want the best candidate to win. I want the best Democrat. Biden's not your guy. And instead of saying what he did was right or wrong, it's like, well, Trump did this. It's like, who cares? At the end of the day, they're mutually exclusive. We need to call people for their faults and for their qualities. And at the end of the day, what society we live in when we're literally arguing whose shit sandwich smells worse.
Exactly. I say that all the time. They're like, well, Trump did this. I was like, well, arrest him too. Oh, you want him arrested? Absolutely. If he did something wrong,
yeah,
arrest him. And frankly, when we get to the point about him at the very beginning of 2020, when you are president of the United States, your oath is to the Constitution, and your job is to protect the rights that outlined in the Constitution. And they're only outlined in the Constitution. The Constitution does not grant us these rights. The Constitution just outlines what all of you were born with. At no point in time should there be a pause to that. And to infect, and this is where Trump lost me, is that you're going to complain about the swamp. They're trying to get you. And then there should have been I'm not turning the country over to Fauci.
Yeah, and he did. He bent over. Here's the deal. If put up against any Democrat currently, now that Tulsi's not there, Trump is he's still better than the best Democrat, which is so bad. It says a lot about where we're at. But you give me a Rand Paul, you give me a Thomas Massey, I'll give you a great person who will run a great nation and bring us back to where we need to be. Yes. But unfortunately, they have no shot because you have to. I like how people are getting on DeSantis about he took money from the Bushes. I'm like, bro, that's what you have to do.
Yes.
At the end of the day, you need a war chest. So my thing is, do we trust DeSantis disseminating that money and working within the system? Or do we want a replay of 2016, which I will argue, look, Trump literally drove people over the edge. And it's like, Trump derangement syndrome. That's a bad thing. We do not need a candidate who has 50% love, 50% I will kill everybody in this entire country to get rid of this guy. We need to have somebody like Obama. People loved him a lot. People didn't like him. Yeah. But very few people were like, man, I fucking would die to make sure that guy's not president, right? Obama was like, Obamacare sucks. Trump did something. And I don't know what caused it. Maybe it was how he talks. Maybe it was his bravado. But Trump triggered something in people that changed the entire fabric of this nation. Prior to Trump being president, Americans didn't get along all the time. But we're literally, and I'd hate to take Tim Pool's grift, we literally are on the brink of civil war every day.
Yes.
One event. We are one event away from a civil war. One event. Trump. What if Trump said, I'm not going to New York? What would have happened? And then they send troops down to Florida. What would have happened?
If I was Trump, I would have contacted my local sheriff. And normally the sheriffs would that's why local is so important. I don't even give a shit about the federal government anymore. I don't. I frankly don't care. We need strong state, local, regional leadership. The federal government is corrupt beyond repair. We are not voting our way out of this. People need to accept that. We are not voting our way out of it.
You don't think so? I still think we can, Alan. I still think we can. I just think that people need to be educated because I don't think we've even tried voting. Have we tried voting? Look at it this way. Every single pro-lockdown governor was reelected. Every single one. From Whitmer to what's his face in Abbott in Texas. Abbott was literally bragging that they shut down gyms and kept alcohol deliveries legal. Abbott is a piece of shit. Yet he didn't just win. He won by a landslide in the primary. Okay. And then you elected. I mean, Arizona's weird. I don't know where that case is going to go, but I really do think that a majority of elections were fair. And ballot harvesting is a thing, and it's not going away. And until Republicans can figure out how to do that, but honestly, other than inflation, you look at inflation, how bad it is. They keep calling it Biden inflation. I want to ask you this, Republicans, who started printing the money?
Yeah,
Trump just started printing money. Who literally negotiated? Democrats were like, let's give everybody $600. Trump's like, I'll give you $1,200. That's what happened. Like, we keep trying to blame inflation on Biden. And yes, he is very, very, very partly to blame.
Oh, yeah.
However, Trump literally is the one who started with the handouts, who started giving money to people, who started printing money without anything to back it. So we got to be intellectually honest. And that's the problem, is both sides like, he did it. As a libertarian, I'm like, both y'all did it, man.
Yeah, they both did it. And not to mention that, but how when the money started changing hands for the vid, like $30,000 per diagnosis to each hospital, $12,000 or $30,000 to be on a ventilator, $14,000. Like, we were like, the money was flowing in 2020, like, for ridiculous stuff. And to me, it was outside the scope of authority anyway. Like, the federal government should have almost nothing to do with healthcare. Like, almost nothing to do with it. They're horrible at it. I mean, horrible at it. And yet alone, it was just basically money to go to the hospitals, money to go to the doctors, money to go to pharma. And that's on Trump. And then Trump still, I'm sorry, but Operation Warp Speed, why did we seek out no other, like, authority about this? Like, so
why did we give up immunity immediately? It's like, hey, you guys come out with this, but we cannot shield you from hurting people. That was the move. Instead, Trump's like, come out with something. We will make it where you can't get sued. And now it's like, look, I'm coming around.
Trump is pretty good.
I'm trying. I'm actually coming around where I'm not one of those. I think that the V word is bad for everyone. I think that, like with all our neighbors, God bless their souls, they have very, very, very severely autistic children, and it was caused by their childhood V words. It was direct. I mean, it was affirmed by many, many doctors. And the thing is, as with anything, side effects happen in people. I do believe that there is a high prevalence of side effects in young males and stuff like that from the C word, V word. But at the end of the day, I just don't think most people are going to have any negative effects, even long term. The more I'm like, it's been a couple years, and we both know multiple people who've had it. They're thriving. They're healthy. They're in the best shape of their life. I don't think they're just going to keel over from a heart attack. I just don't. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, you know, it needed more testing. And for them to just come out and say, we're going to get this done so fast. And then it just became, well, it's not that dangerous. Let's make some money off of this.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy that we came out with something that quick. I think it's friggin' amazing. But, you know, you open it up to these things where it's welcoming tyranny. It's welcoming overreach. And that's what happened. So, you know, I do think overall Trump was a good president.
He did. The first 3 years were killer.
I think killer. Yeah. Well, year 4 was killer if you want to go there. Well, yeah. But I think he did an overall good job on a lot of things. Foreign policy, amazing. Amazing foreign policy. What he did with the peace accords in the Middle East, absolutely remarkable. The economy before the pandemic hit, great. But a real leader, like running a company, and you've seen me around my staff, and you know, they look to me as a leader because I'm the CEO.
Right.
So every day when we're crushing it, when we're just turning over orders, we launch a new product and we're friggin' breaking records. We launch the smelling salts, right? It's a good day. It's a good day. So anybody can lead in the time of prosperity. But can somebody lead in the time of crisis? That is when a true leader is defined. And when it came down to it, Trump failed miserably.
Failed. And I mean, the problem is, and people idolize him so much. It's like, people can complain about the left all they want. People that are really, really diehard Trumpers, you guys got to wake up a little bit. Like, he's just a dude. He's a politician. Yeah. Like, everybody's like, oh, he's not a politician. He's going to drain the swamp. No. He's a politician. My biggest thing, you were talking about the V real quick. My biggest thing was there was never justification, even for a state of emergency, for the vid. Yet alone to produce all this and spend all this money. There was never true justification. And I think that I personally believe that he did more along the lines of like trying to avoid being being boosted out of office, or he did more to avoid or more to help his reelection, not hurt his reelection chances than anything. And I understand that, but somebody should have been watching out for our rights. That's what we pay these people to do, and they did not. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So that leads me to kind of what we want to talk about, the indictment, which scares me, not because I don't want to see Trump in jail. Right. I honestly think he's being indicted for the wrong things. I think him, Fauci, Whitmer, Governor Newsom, I think all of those people should be indicted for basically for what they did during the pandemic. I absolutely believe that those were human rights violations. And I believe that what they did was criminal. I believe that Trump calling for 15 days was incitement. I do. I do. He basically made the country panic for no reason. That wasn't, and Whitmer, literally people couldn't buy seeds. Now she came out and said, I might have overreacted. And also like buy some powder. That bitch is shiny. So
yeah, shiny.
So before we get on this indictment, can I get some smelling salts in here?
Yeah, you can, man. Absolutely.
Oh, whoa. Okay. I'm ready. Okay. So the indictment, here's, that's my new thing. So the indictment, here's my problem with it. It sets precedent that every time a president leaves office, they will be indicted, because you don't think for 1 second that Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz and all these, imagine what happens. Oh, that shit works. Imagine what happens when Biden leaves office, okay? And you got fucking Kristi Noem up in South Dakota, or somebody just trying to get clout with their base. You got Bill Lee, who might want to one-up Ron DeSantis. You got DeSantis, who might want to out DeSantis. They're like, you know what? There was some campaign shit. There was some ballot box shit going on. We're going to indict Biden. I guarantee you this. Write this shit down. Fucking thumbtack it, whatever it is. Dude, there is going to be an indictment of Biden after if he lives that long, because he's like 90 years old. Yeah. Biden will be indicted. We're in a very horrible place where no one's going to want to be president, because you're going to be political prisoner after you're done.
I think that it's just another step, another example of the dysfunction of the federal government. The federal government's only job, like their jobs, are supposed to be to provide the common defense and protect your rights. They shouldn't be deciding what seeds you can grow. They shouldn't be deciding if you collect rainwater or not. They shouldn't be deciding what type of armament you are allowed to have by your rights to protect you from them. The entire concept, like every gun law, is unconstitutional.
Every single one.
Every single
one. What fucking part of shall not be infringed do they not understand? By the way, I just bought a new one this weekend. Did I send you a picture of it yet?
Yeah, you did. I can't wait.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to be, me and Mark are going to be hanging out the end. Well, no, not the end, but the
April 20th.
Yeah, the April 20th is, I think we get there. The 20th through like the 23rd.
We'll do an event at the new gym. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. We'll do an event at the new gym.
I think Maj is coming, bro.
Oh, that'll be excellent.
He likes guns too.
Yeah. So for those of you that want to come say hi and see Mark's new gym, absolutely. It'll be great. Hook something up. Mark is speaking at the Mises conference.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Which is pretty neat. Again, just so everybody understands, like where I'm coming from is your rights are your rights.
Yep.
Right. The ridiculousness of gun laws to begin with. People are like, well, you don't need an AR-15 for hunting. You're right. You don't necessarily need one. I tell you this right now. I would like to have one when I go hog hunting, because if you can't deal out a lot around, like these are people that have never been hunting or been hunting like that, because like hog hunting, they'll come get you. They'll come kill you.
You need to have a big gun and a gun with a lot of ammo and the ability to fire rapidly.
Right.
I don't hunt, so I'm a handgun guy. Mm-hmm. I have a M&P 2.0. I have a P365. I have a little revolver. I like shotguns for home defense. I don't like ARs and shit. It's just not my thing. It's not my thing. If I can't carry it with me, I'm not strapping that shit on my back. I'm not getting ready for the next civil war. But I do have, if you've seen the messages I get online, I carry every day to protect myself and my family.
Yeah.
And if anybody comes near my house or tries to do anything, they will not leave this house without a body bag around them.
No.
It is what it is. So I look at it as self-defense and protection, and also to protect others. If there's a situation where a mass shooter is there, the way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Yeah. So we were just having this discussion this morning, Alan. So they're like, we had the shooting in Nashville, so kids don't know what's going on. They're like, we're going to walk out of school at 10, 12. We're going to protest. Okay, cool. So there's 400 million guns and billions of rounds of ammo in this country. What are you, like, what's your play here? Like, how are we going to do this? Like, I want to know, okay, let's ban guns. Okay, give me a fucking action plan now. We'll just tell everybody to turn them in. Oh, 400 million guns. That's 50 million more guns than there are people, including infants.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. You're looking for a catalyst. If they try to ban guns or something like that, they're going to keep talking about this, and that's what's going to incite it. You watch. Because here's the thing. Yeah, I do. Because like I was talking about the hunting thing before. I could make a justifiable cause for an AK for many types of hunting, for bigger game and stuff like that. However, it doesn't matter what you want the gun for. Your right to own one shall not be infringed by the Constitution. Yep. And frankly, anybody that has signed legislation to infringe upon it has broken their oath and should be arrested.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct.
And I truly mean that. Beyond that, anybody that is a fucking idiot enough to think that it was meant for hunting in the Constitution.
It's not even written in there.
When the people that wrote the Bill of Rights, when the people that wrote this amendment had just boosted a tyrannical government, they were not worried about hunting. Everybody hunted. They were worried about getting rid of a tyrannical government. That's literally why we have it. And the people that we might need to use the guns against shouldn't be deciding what guns we can have to use against them.
Yep.
The government works for us. They are not. The federal government has forgotten, because the people have allowed them to forget, that they work for us. I say this all the time too, and this is another libertarian thing. They should not know any fucking thing about us. We should know everything about them. Should you be allowed to own a tank? You're goddamn right. Yes, you should.
Absolutely, you should. You should have equal firepower as the federal government. Yeah. Equal. And as for nukes, okay, maybe we shouldn't have nukes. But like tanks.
Well, because anything you can maintain yourself, you should be allowed to have.
We can't maintain nukes. I can't maintain
nukes. I can maintain a tank.
I don't know. I might have to hire a handyman for that. I don't look, here's the deal though. Like, yes. So what you don't understand is that Venezuela, all these countries, Hitler's Germany, they literally first thing they did, they disarmed the people. Well, what about, I like when people go like, well, the government has F-16s. How did that work out in Afghanistan? Literally, like we have, so you got to realize America has a lot of veterans who are not very happy with the current state. We actually know one of them, Alan. Remember that conversation? They all talk. If shit gets to that point, dude, we don't have a bunch of fucking farmers in Afghanistan. We have trained soldiers who will die for this country.
Yeah.
And they need to be able to arm themselves to protect us from the government. The Second Amendment is more important than the First Amendment, because the Second Amendment protects the First Amendment. Look, man, there's never been a school shooting in a school where there are armed individuals. There are armed teachers. We need to protect these schools. My kid's school, three officers armed at all times on campus. People are like,
that's because you're rich.
No, it's a public school.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, it's a rich.
So the school that was shot up, the Covenant School, which is 20 minutes from my house, the reason that sick individual who is rotting in fucking hell right now shot up that school, literally, she told this to her, whatever the fuck it was, told this to their friend, that went after that school because they did not have guards, because it was a private school. In the great state of Tennessee, in Williamson County, we have armed sheriffs on campus all day long, and they are awesome guys, and they would die for those kids. And that is why I love living in the great state of Tennessee. We don't have unarmed resource officers. We have armed sheriffs.
That's awesome.
And we need them everywhere. They do. Hey, Israel, the teachers are armed.
Yes.
In Israel.
And people are like, oh, well, what if my teacher doesn't want to? Then don't hire them as a teacher. They're in,
honestly,
teachers
in a union, I don't want them armed.
They're supposed to, like, if I leave my child in your care, you better be able to protect them. If you cannot, I'm coming for you. You know, like this is where we've gotten so ridiculous about this stuff. It should be considered the duty of every American citizen to own, maintain, and practice in proficiency with a firearm.
Did you see that? Did you see that map that Sour Patch Lids posted about like homicides and gun violence and gun ownership? Okay, I can't put it on my screen right now, but let me see if I can.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have per capita really low homicides and really high gun ownership. So you go to a country, so they're killing each other, just not with guns, or they're killing each other with guns. Like there was a big mass shooting in France. Yeah. Fucking France has gun control. At the end of the day, let's say we pass legislation tomorrow. There's 400 million guns that we know of. Criminals aren't doing it right. So it basically just makes us sitting ducks. So I don't know what legislation, assault, right? Like what is an assault weapon? A hammer? An assault weapon is the stupidest term ever. And again, I'm not a pro-gun guy. Like the only reason I started carrying is after my family and I got that death threat and hazmat came to our house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm carrying everywhere I fucking go. It is what it is. But you know, these people just, it's like, oh, well, what's the difference between our country and their country? Well, I don't know. I could say things and not get killed by the government. That's one.
Yep.
There's a lot of things different.
Yet.
We're fucked. I mean, I do think we're in a better spot than ever in America. People get so mad when I say this. Like we complain about this, but like, come on, dude. FDR, the New Deal, you got fucking slavery. You got the 60s civil rights movement, spraying black people with hoses. You got Chinese indentured servants. You got Asians thrown in concentration camps. Dude, America's never been great. Oh, and we're forgetting about the most important of all. On November 22nd, 1964, our government literally killed a sitting president. So you're talking about Trump got indicted. Dude, they fucking killed JFK. Like Trump's getting off pretty easy compared to John.
Yeah. I mean,
they admitted it. They fucking admitted it. And they admitted there's aliens. There's fucking aliens, Alan. There's fucking aliens.
I know. And I remember messaging you. I was like, can you believe that they just fucking admitted aliens? And everybody's like, meh. Like
it was just you, me, and Joe Rogan were the only ones who noticed.
I was like, whoa. like, I understand the news cycle's going awfully fast, but they just fucking admitted aliens. Like
they literally admitted, hey, there's fucking UFOs and aliens and shit. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, the flu.
So bad. It's so bad. But that's the problem. You know, one of the things you and I talk about all the time is how the country's weak because men are weak.
Yeah.
Now, I am starting to see, and I wanted your opinion upon this, because not necessarily on TikTok or on YouTube or necessarily, but I am starting to see a shift of more like I haven't had like resistance like I had for a couple years in a while on most of the things I say when it comes to the government or COVID or anything like that. I do think it is shifting. You know, like I do think it's starting to move. But I also think that men in general, like even a lot of the men that think that they're ready, like a lot of these guys cannot walk a mile. You know what I mean? Like we are soft and we are soft and weak, fat, like comfortable. Like nobody makes themselves uncomfortable anymore. Like I mean,
I've been so like so being a part of a company of Mike Rashid and Kevin Gates. And Mike he did this speech the other day about like We fast because not because all that autophagy bullshit, not because of lifespan. Yeah, it could happen, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't give a fuck. We fast because it fucking sucks. We take cold showers, not because it burns fat or it does this, that, because it fucking sucks. We train to the point of passing out afterwards, which I did on Saturday after leg day, because it's fucking hard. Like, men just don't want to suffer anymore. At the end of the day, it's like, that's too hard. That's too much. Dude, like we need to literally artificially, because life is so good. It is so good. We literally get, dude, I literally, when I land in LA, I go to my gym, which Iron Addicts on the way. And on the way, I go to my app and I have Kava waiting for me in the office. Like, how fucking awesome is that? Oh, and I'm picked up in a car and I literally and there's a car right fucking there. Like, life is so good that we have to artificially suffer. We have to induce suffering artificially. So I literally do it every day. I do something to artificially create some kind of suffer, because men need to suffer. But these soft fucking tight pants, skinny jeans wearing motherfuckers, they don't understand what it's like to suffer. They're all sensitive and shit. Men are supposed to fucking suffer. I'm sorry. Men are supposed to have adversity, and they just don't. And that's why my kids play sports. Like, nothing teaches adversity more than having someone's balls in your face, pinning you on a wrestling mat, or having someone punch you in the fucking face. That's why my kids fight, dude. My kids know adversity. Nothing's more embarrassing than being pinned in front of all your friends. That's so fucking humiliating.
No, it absolutely is. You know, I just think
we need to do that.
At the beginning of 2020, I also saw a very large push for that was when the toxic masculinity thing was coming out, right? Where people like you and me, who like are what I would consider traditionally masculine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where like there was this big push for it. And I think we need to get back to that. Like me, I've even talked to you about, like, we need to get some shirts that say traditionally masculine on them, because I don't think here's my thing. I don't think anybody should try to be like me necessarily, because I am crazy. No, like, I mean, like, I'm completely insane, like 100%, right? Like, the ADHD has literally I've kind of, turned into the crazy spin, and I just allow it to just kind of overtake stuff. However, I absolutely love my child, would die for him. Absolutely love my wife, would die for her. Absolutely. My close circle of friends know that I will provide an alibi or take a bullet at any given time for them. I work out hard. I watch what I eat. I try to be as good of a person as possible. I try to make sure that we're financially stable. I try to make sure that we are working as a team together, that I respect my wife. You've seen me around in front of my wife. I worship my wife's, like, the ground she walks on. I worship her. But men should worship their families. That's what we are supposed to do. And I think that a lot of these people have gotten to the point where, like, they're so self-involved and so, like, they don't find worth outside of themselves,
Yeah.
Being masculine is about, like, a traditionally masculine man. A lot of people think it's arrogance and stuff like that. Being a traditionally masculine man is about sacrifice. It is about making sure that you try to take care of everybody around you, your family, your group. It is about being ready to step up and do the hard things. And we don't do that anymore.
You know, what's really crazy is we hear a lot about toxic masculinity until you see those two brave police officers from the Nashville Police Department go in, confront a live shooter, risk their lives to save lives. That is masculinity. They sacrifice their entire being to save people, to save children, to save everybody. And that's what masculinity is. Those guys, I mean, just knowing a lot of the police officers out here, even the metro guys who are a bit more soft than the country guys that are out here, they're legit dudes. Like, they're legit bros. They go to the range all the time. They practice fighting. They really stay in shape. I think they handled the Summer of Love as good or better than any police department in a major city. I have nothing but respect for Metro Nashville Police, the dealings I've had with them. And I know a few of the officers because we try to, give back to our community. And I'm by no means a back the blue guy, but I'm like, I'll back the good ones. And at the end, because I back the blue conditionally, if that makes sense. So what I'm saying is we need because at the end of the day, you know, going in like that, there are plenty of female officers who would have done the same thing. But isn't it profound? And there are a lot of female cops out there that every time a situation like this arises, it's usually a male who comes in and saves the day. Has anybody noticed that? Like every time you have a cop do something heroic, it's a dude. And just looking around, there are a ton of female cops, a lot of them. A lot of them, probably 15 to 20%. I haven't looked at I'm just guessing. But why is it that every time shit's on the line, every time someone needs to do some heroic shit, it's a dude?
I have no idea. That's the thing that people need to like start looking at like in a tremendous way. Is that
I have a question real quick, and I'm sorry I interrupted you a little bit. I didn't mean to. Is that if you're getting robbed and Alan and I are walking by, you know there's a good chance we're armed. Are you going to be mad that we have a gun? Or are you going to be happy that we have a gun?
Exactly. Are you going to be happy that we actually have a weapon to protect you with?
And that we are weapons ourselves.
Yes.
Period.
I absolutely trained to be able to protect my wife and my family and my friends and my, everything like that. That to me, we need to get there. Like, look at how lives were saved by two men that had to get called to a situation. Imagine if there was two men there ready to take care of a situation. The shooter would have never gone in. Why, by the way, question to you: why do you think they're not releasing the manifesto? When was that ever a thing? When was it ever a thing that all of a sudden we're not releasing information about stuff like this?
So the only thing I could think of, and I don't want to immediately point again, these are literally my neighbors. A lot of these cops, and they don't make the call. I'm not sure if it's the conspiracy we think it is. I think there could be something in there that could be insightful, that could be a dog whistle to other activists. So I think you know where I'm going here, the Vegas shooting. And you know the guy who I know, who knows. And it's not what everybody thinks it is. It was literally a crazy fuck who just went off and started shooting people. And I've gotten so much heat for that, but it's not the big conspiracy that everybody thinks it is. And if I didn't tell you who told me that, I know who you're talking about. Okay. It's not what everybody thinks it is. So a lot of times we are so like, I have people blast me online because there's a lot of fitness people who are fake. They automatically assume that if you're fitness people that you're fake, when in reality, some of us are legit. And I'm like, dude, I understand because the Liver King's lying to you. This guy's lying to you. You have a right, and you've been lied to about tainted supplements. I get it. You have a right to question everything I do. Yeah. So the fact is, we are lied to so much by so many different things, namely the media and the federal government, that when somebody like the Nashville Metro PD, which again, to my knowledge and everything they've done in every situation I've been a part of has been very good. When someone like them makes a call like that, we're automatically going to assume that they're trying to do X or whatever. And that could very well be true. But I think that what we need to do is we need to keep demanding that they release the information, or demand why. Because I'm sure that if the media actually asked the question, why can't we see the manifesto, they'd probably have a good answer. The problem is the media wants to protect trans people, which I'm all for protecting people, but when it comes at the expense of protecting the greater good, so to speak, right? When it comes to protecting a nation and a large population of people for a very small segment of the population, I think that, in my opinion, they don't want to release it because it's probably so over the top pro-trans and anti-cis that they're afraid that it will incite violence. That again, guys, don't take this for my opinion. This is simply me trying to explain an alternative thing, because all I see online is people, and I love her to death, Sarah Gonzalez, right? From the News and Why It Matters. She's almost gone over the top anti-trans. Over the top. Yeah. And I think we need to kind of decipher between there are good and bad people. And I do think that a lot of people are, sensationalizing or over promoting transgenderism as something great, when in reality it's a very hard way to live. You
Yeah.
literally, I'm imagining this, like, I'm assuming or imagining that it's really hard to wake up every day, whether it's a mental disorder or how you were born or whatever. It could be both. How you were born is a mental disorder. Like, we have ADHD, right? We're
Yeah.
crazy. So what if it's something like ADHD? You wake up every day, you go to school, and teachers are like, that kid's a bad kid. He's a bad apple. When in reality, we're different. We're meant to be more active. We're not meant to be in desks. We're in the 5% of the population that we cannot sit still. And that's a hard way. It's a hard fucking way to live, because you're like, I don't understand why I'm like this. So there are transgender people like Blair White, who I'm sure has spent her entire life grappling with this, and going through the transition was probably a very tough decision.
I
but
agree.
Then you over correct it, and then you make it where people who aren't transgender think that becoming transgender will make them happy and cover up other demons and issues they have. So I'm not anti-transgender. I just think we need to, I think that we've gone so overboard on promoting this. And then you have these grifters who are evil, like that Dylan Mulvaney guy.
Evil.
What a horrible thing that thing is. And I don't know if it's a man or did he have his thing lopped off?
I don't think so.
If you still see, that's the thing. Like, I give you credit for lopping off your penis. Like, that's commitment.
Yeah.
I want to say, because I couldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's that's definitely a strong move. The thing about this is again, like, if you're not affecting me, I don't give a shit. Like, I've said this before. Like, one of the big things about one of the big things about the whole obesity thing, because it's my job. One, I want to help people, but two, I will say this: it was in fact used as a excuse. It was not justified, but an excuse to lock us all down. Public health, the level of public health being used as basically in a weaponized way against the constitutional rights of people, make your health everybody's business. However, how you want to dress, I don't care. How you want to call yourself, I don't care. Unless you're going to make yourself a burden, get whatever surgeries you want. I don't care. I don't have to sleep with you. That's you business. The second you start talking to children about it, that's a different story, because
that's my business. Because if someone's beating the shit out of their kid on the street, I'm gonna do something.
Knock them the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something. So that's still less severe than literally giving them puberty blockers, which are irreversible, by the way. Irreversible. And that's so that gives me, I just did a video on this, is the whole transgender sports issue.
Oh my God.
And that, my daughter's done playing sports, so I have no skin in the game anymore after this high school season. Honestly, I think that we need this to happen, because it's going to be hilarious. Because at the end of the day, women's sports are going to die, because you're seeing. So look, man, Dylan Mulvaney, while a disgusting human being,
horrible,
that motherfucker can't ball. That is not an athletic human being. No. You put that thing on a soccer field or a basketball court, it's going to be worse than any female in the world. Right. What you're seeing are real fucking men. Leah Thomas is a big dude with a big cock, from what I heard.
Yeah.
Okay, like huge cock. If you listen to the girls about their locker room experience, like, that's a tall dude with a long penis, right? And then you have that article I sent you about that soccer player in Germany.
Yeah.
That is a man. Like, that is a man with broad shoulders. Like, there are slim, slender men. David Hogg, for example. Do you ever think that little bitch do you even think he could throw a baseball without his arm snapping in half?
Nah.
Okay, those are the transgenders I want to see in sports, because they are meek little feminine men. These women who are doing this are legit, like, they're not first tier. These are second and third tier athletes who weren't good enough to be first. So what they're doing is by becoming female, they become first tier athletes as a female. But these are not transgenders. These are grifters. These are sad excuses for human beings. These are not women. These are not transgender. In fact, if I was a lesbian, gay, or transgender, which a lot of my good transgender and gay friends are, I'd be really upset because they're basically sabotaging and hijacking a legit fucking movement. I want to see, until Dylan Mulvaney can ball in the NBA, I'm not there.
Yeah. But the horrible thing is people like Dylan Mulvaney, this Jeffrey Marsh guy, they don't help people like Blair White. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
they don't help. They don't like, I feel bad for the old trans. The old trans knew that there was a difference between men and women. The old trans knew that there was a difference between men and women so much they wanted to become the other one, you know?
Yeah.
And none of them think that they actually become one. Like this whole ridiculousness of like a trans woman is a woman. No, it is not. Not on any universe.
You're not going to convince me that Leah Thomas isn't just gaming the sports system.
No,
you're not going to convince me that it's a large man with a large penis who was a decent male swimmer, but he wasn't great. It's like, I know this doesn't work because I would not win female bikini or women's bodybuilding. So I am essentially where Leah Thomas is as a swimmer. I'm a second or third tier bodybuilder. I'm not at the top. I'm not even fucking close. In a group of 15 pro bodybuilders, I'm 11th through 15th. And I know that. I have a mirror and I respect the other guys. I know my place on this earth. Leah Thomas was there. However, if there was an equivalency to male bodybuilding with the same exact judging criteria, minus the tits and the ass and all that, I would kill these bitches. And that's exactly what's happening, where I am a pro male athlete or a elite male athlete, but I am not at the top of the elite. I am simply a pro. I am at the bottom of the barrel, but I'm still great. Anybody who gets a pro card is fucking awesome.
But amazing. You're a pro.
Yeah, but look, if you put me next to Sean Clarita, Kareth, you put me next to any of these guys, Keon, dude, you're going to be like, does that guy even fucking lift? And that's what Leah Thomas is doing to these women. And for me as a professional athlete, bodybuilding is not a sport. Fine. Fuck you. It's just not fair because you can't simply one day, like that power lifter in Canada was hilarious. He identified as a woman for one day, broke the other dude's records who was identifying as a woman in front of that other dude by 95 pounds on the bench press. And then the next day changed over to a man. And the actual Canadian Powerlifting Federation tweeted out that he just broke the girl's record. It was fucking greatest trolling ever.
That is amazing. That is... You know, I mean, and my thing is like, let's give them their own league. I'm all for it. Like you'll have your own. Let's have a men's restroom and a female's restroom, and then we can have a restroom for people that don't care about what the person has.
But they have that, Alan. I went to every place I've gone, including Geodis Park, where the Nashville soccer team plays. They have a family restroom. They've always had it. They've had it at airports since I was a kid. They have men, women, and then the family restroom where you have your private toilet seat. You might have to wait a little bit, but if you're a male, I don't want you peeing next to my daughter in a bathroom. And if I see you go in, if I see a dude go in the woman's restroom, you're going to have to bail me out because I am going to catch it. I'm not going to hit the person. I'll be like, you're not going in there.
Yeah.
And I'll call security and I will sue the airport and I will sue everybody for whatever I can sue them for. Absolutely. I will use the law. People need to start suing. Guys, if you have $1,000 to your name, there are plenty of talk to Ron Coleman, not Ronnie, Ron Coleman, the Jewish one. Talk to him on Twitter. If you have any civil rights issues pertaining to that kind of stuff, there are plenty of attorneys who will help you out at a very low price because it helps them too to take up those cases.
I might be calling him. I started going along those lines like a week ago where I was saying I need a lawyer to help me sue YouTube because YouTube is defaming me.
Shit. Well, I think that would be phenomenal.
YouTube is saying that I publish videos with medical misinformation in them. One of them is reading word for word from the CDC director at the time, and another one is me talking to a doctor. So claiming like the actual stamp of medical misinformation is, especially since I'm kind of in the healthcare field, is defamation.
Well, why don't you I'll get you Ron's number. He's a great guy. He's a Jew. I always recommend hiring Jewish attorneys.
Yeah.
It's what we fucking do. And if you ever need someone canceled, that's what we do too. You saw what we did to Kanye.
Dude, you guys are savage to him. Like,
dude,
what was it like? What was it like at the Jewish person meeting when you were talking?
So the meeting was great. It was on Zoom, and it was really good, man. You know, we just sat there, ate some matzo ball soup, and talked about canceling random black rappers. It was really fun. It's what we do. But I mean, here's the deal. I got a confession to make, Alan. I was listening to Kanye.
Kanye West has said some crazy, wild shit.
But he says one thing about Jews, and he's done.
He's done.
It's like, hey, we do not control everything. And then they literally control it.
They literally like they literally proved him right. That's what I didn't get.
God.
Like
Kanye literally got a W on that, and Adidas lost $700 million because of that. Because they're literally a company founded by a guy named Adolf, who was a Nazi.
It's crazy. So this is another thing too. Another thing I stated is that I need a lawsuit as a class action suit for everybody that has ever been sat next to a fat person on an airplane.
I don't know if you have grounds for that. I know class action attorneys. I know a lot of them. Some of my best friends are class action attorneys.
Technically, it's fraud. Like they sell you a space. Right?
You would have to show the exact time. You'd have to have the complaint, and you only need one for a class action suit.
Right.
So good luck finding someone to take it, though.
They sell you space, right? And then they knowingly sit somebody next to you that is going to occupy that space. That is
man, that'd be
fraud.
tough. That would be tough. I think you should sue YouTube though. That'd be the flex.
Oh yeah,
that'd be like that Alex Bernstein guy who sued Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, we're definitely, and I'll get some other people together, and you can be one of them. So,
absolutely. But can I prove the shadow ban? I would have to subpoena them. That
would be even better.
That would be fun.
That's discovery. Like, I mean, shit, Mark, we might get lucky out of this, and they just settle out of court with us for fucking millions of dollars. I don't give a fuck. I mean, I either want the fucking smoke or I want the money. You know, like, I mean, one or the other, you know?
I mean, it's just kind of criminal how all this has come down, isn't it? Like, who'd have thought that they would be censoring people on social media for telling truth?
But that's you hit it right. You hit it right. People need to start suing these companies.
We're not going to win by January 6th, man. Like, so the bottom line is the law is not fair. And you could see that with the meme guy. You saw that meme guy who's facing 10 years in prison. Another woman posted the exact same thing for the other side, and nothing happened. So, you know, at the end of the day, there is no violent protest. There's two ways we win this, and that's at the ballot box, and that's in the courtroom. We need to sue everybody. That's how these Democrats win. They sue in jurisdictions they'll win. And if we want to win, we need to sue. Every single anti-mask, every single COVID issue has gone towards the suing people. Notice that, like every restaurant who sued, every person who sued, they've all won. Yep. So we need to stop. Like, I don't understand. Like, I live in Brentwood, Tennessee. People have money to sue, and nobody was suing. And I'm like, I'm suing everybody. Like, if I have the opportunity, I'm lawyering up and I'm going. Like, I am not going to let these people trample my rights. And somebody commented earlier, and it was this guy who's been trolling us the whole one. His name's Mike, I think. Yeah. And
from like three different accounts, dude. Yeah, by the way, Mike, because I know you're still watching. If you have 3 different accounts that you sign in on just to comment, you're the one that looks stupid.
Yeah. So here's the deal. He said you're wearing a 1776 shirt, but what are you going to do about it? Well, so here's the deal. It's a different time, and like our Civil War now is a 5th generation techno-based civil war. We're not going to have a little. Do you realize back when the Civil War was fought, they had a guy with a drum who nobody shot? Like, what the fuck? Imagine somebody walking out in the middle of like a war a hot conflict in Afghanistan, just bouncing a drum. Like
Right.
things have changed.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Alan and me, all we could do is fight for our own rights. And the way we win, the way these gun laws are overturned, the way everything happens is we litigate. How does the NRA win? They don't win by force. They don't win by intimidation. They win with court appeals. That's all the NRA does. All these organizations from the ACLU to the NRA, they're not winning because of protests. They're not winning because they're flooding the streets. Protests don't work. Last time anybody on the right did it, you had Granny going to fucking prison for waving a little American flag and being let in by officers. The shaman got years and he served part of it for doing basically just walking around with cops and saying prayers for them.
Right.
Like the guy was a nut job, but like, and even though it was a dumb move, I will go on record saying if you were at January 6th, you need your head checked because it was a setup. But like, be honest, like Alan and I, we go to the streets. I'm not going to any of these like, hey man, they're doing this thing at Nashville, like the Matt Walsh shit and all the anti-trans. I'm like, I'm not going there.
No.
I'm going to get attacked by Antifa. I'm going to hit them back and someone's going to die.
Right. I mean, as it is, I'm thinking that the Mises conference is going to be pretty interesting. And I mean,
it's going to be fun.
It's also I think it's going to be super interesting and fun. It's one of the things where I always like think about it this way. Most people don't want smoke in person. They just like me and you prove this all the time. Like we just had this Mike Jones guy in the comments. Me and Mark have announced every get together we've been at forever in multiple states. Mark announces his schedule at the time. I think you talked about this in our private chat between me and you about a month ago. You're like, social media is an illusion. Everybody in the world really just wants to be happy and free. Like, I mean, like, and I really believe that. The more I've been out, like, people don't have shit with each other. Like, I mean, I live in a very, like, people think Florida is super racist and homophobic. I live in a super diverse area. There's like 15 different languages spoken in my neighborhood, you know?
Yeah,
I love it like that.
My cousins are black liberals who think that Trump should go to jail. And we don't care. He's like, hey, when are you going to Long Beach next? I'm like, I should be there in the next month or two. It's like, It's just like, I think most people can have differences and talk. Yeah. I don't think that's an issue. I don't think that the normal person, the problem is when you get online and there's fringe, right? It's like they go to these protests, which again, like number one, you can't have a job to go to these things. So you're obviously weird. Number two, like these protests are like at fucking noon on a weekday. Like, don't y'all work? I mean, as it is, like we've been trying to schedule this live for like a month.
Right.
Like, we have jobs, right? So it's like noon on a weekday and they're all like dressed really funny with blue hair. It's like, I can't believe those people in the history of the world, they were never stable. These were the weird ones you avoid. But 99% of people, like, they just do their fucking thing. Like we still have people at our gym come in wearing a fucking N95 mask. There's one guy at our gym who wears Crocs and a mask, and then he takes his shoes off. So he's barefoot, but he wears this mask and it's too small. And I'm like, he doesn't care. He's like, hey, I'm afraid of air. I'm like, okay, I don't really want to know you, but hey, we're sharing a space. It's fine. He's not like fucking waving BLM and rainbow flags at me. Like, and nobody cares. Yeah. The people who you're seeing and teenagers are just stupid. They've always been stupid. Yeah, always. Like look at the 60s in Vietnam. Like they'll come around. They're just rebelling against mommy and daddy. And it is what it is. They don't understand the purpose of the Second Amendment, the First Amendment. And honestly, like people are like the kids, I'm like, most of the kids I talk to are pretty smart and they're pretty well educated. Yeah.
This social media, especially the 2020s, gave avenue to like we talk to crazy people like they're not crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like people that say like I'm 400 pounds, you can't tell me if I'm healthy. You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. Like
you're nuts.
Saying that there is like no difference between a trans woman and a woman. You're crazy. Like, I mean, you are crazy. Like demon pronouns. What the fuck? Like if your child wants to use demon pronouns, get them counseling. You fucked up They think they think that it's perfectly acceptable to ask all of society to call them demon pronouns or fey pronouns. If your child is identifying as a cat, you should not have that child. Like, I mean, like you should not have that child. We like have allowed the crazy to this. We've allowed the crazy like voice. Like we've
normalized crazy because the crazies you just didn't listen to them. They'd be on the street corner with a megaphone saying the end is nigh or Jesus is coming. You're like, oh, that motherfucker's crazy. And now that motherfucker's got a blue check on Twitter. And you're like, oh shit. Basically, Twitter's amplified the crazy people because they have shit else to do. Yeah. But unfortunately, Twitter does shape public policy.
Yeah, it does. And to a great degree, which is another reason why I'm happy Elon took it over. Everybody's like, he's not a conservative. I'm like, I'm happy. Like, I want a playing field. I don't want slant. I don't need slant. I mean, me and you are the type of people like, I want all the smoke. Like, I want to hear, like, you people that think Trump is like the next coming of Jesus, you're crazy. You people that think Biden actually got 81 million votes, you're crazy. Like, I mean, I think he got close.
He did. They were harvested, though. I do believe he got the votes.
I don't buy that that all of them were authentic. I just don't.
No. I'm not saying they're authentic. I'm saying they were harvested.
Okay. Now we're there.
Yeah. Oh, no. We're on the same page. There's not. Look, man. I mean, but then again, dude. I mean, you see, like, you talk to people. They're like, "Yeah, I voted for Biden." Whoops. But that's the thing about going back to Trump. That's the problem. People hate Trump so much they'd vote for a dead guy.
They would literally vote for a crazy person. I remember we were doing lives right before, like me and you were on a live, and I was like, well, I just can't, like, no matter what Trump says, I'm not going to vote for somebody that is campaigning on a mandate, on an unconstitutional mandate. Like, I can't do it. That, and like, I worked in healthcare for a long time. He was cognitively impaired back then. Like, I mean, he was seriously cognitively impaired back then. It's worse now, I'm sure.
He's a pathological lying narcissist. And
racist.
He's always been. Is Trump? Oh, you're talking about Biden?
Yeah. Biden's
both.
Racist. Yeah.
Yeah. Trump, I don't think is racist. Trump's just an asshole.
No,
I will, like, Trump literally won awards for not being racist. Like, I'm not gonna. Now, Biden is definitely a racist. Yeah. Now, Trump is just an asshole. He hates everybody equally, and he just cares about himself. Which, honestly, I don't care. Can you get the job done? And honestly, he failed when it really mattered. I'm just being real. Like, people get mad. Oh, well, the greatest economy. Yeah, okay, got it. But when shit hit the fan, that's when you need a leader. That's when you need that guy. Who am I thinking of? The World War II general, the British guy. Like, we need that guy. Why am I blanking on that shit?
I don't know, but I'm blanking too because you said I'm blanking.
Yeah, shit. Also. Guys, you got to help us here. Anybody in the comments? Who is the fucking general? The fucking president? Fucking, what's his name?
Senator John Fetterman was just released from a mental hospital.
We're literally electing cognitively impaired people over Dr. Oz. And I talked to an Uber driver who voted for Fetterman. I did. And when I was in Pittsburgh, I'm like, how the fuck did you do that? And he was just like, because fuck Dr. Oz. I said, I have no argument. I can't argue. Like, we're literally putting a guy who's a fucking pathological liar against a guy who's mentally fucking brain dead. And I'm like, that's a fucking hard choice.
Winston Churchill?
Winston, yes. That was
Thank you. Thank you.
That guy.
Yeah.
That guy.
Here's a good one for you.
Oh, that's great. So for those of you on Spotify, this guy lost a bunch of weight, working his ass off and using our products. No Morbidity, Ember, and all that good stuff. Well, Alan, I'd hate to be that guy, but I'm at a hard stop. Yeah, well, that's a good thing. It's a bad thing, but it's a good thing.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I appreciate you, man. And I will see you at this house on this very couch. On this very couch. Yeah. The love. It's a love sack. It's a love sack. You know who has a love sack? Dylan Mulvaney has a love sack.
Oh, that was excellent.
Yeah. So Leah, I think we need to focus on. I really want to see Leah Thomas naked. I want to see how that looks.
You know, the sad thing is, I can see her being in Playboy. Or
dude,
I can see him being in Playboy.
I ain't gonna lie. That one you posted on Twitter, I would look the other way. I'd be like, fine. that chick, that chick was hot. Like,
so here's my thing, by the way. If women really wanted to make sure that they just crushed trans women, like if you really wanted to crush trans women, if society really wanted to, we would absolutely normalize women not wearing makeup.
Yeah. Well, here's a guy here. This is awesome. You know what, Mr. Pete? I like you. You know why? Because you're watching us. And we say a lot of things that probably piss you off about tribalism and the left. And we say the same things about the right. And you know what? Us being able to talk together and discuss these things and you not get mad and just converse and hear our opinion. Same reason I'll listen to, people on the left. Jimmy Dore used to be on the left. Now I listen to him all the time. He's actually considered right wing. But you know what, Mr. Pete? I welcome you here. And I will have you guys go. I think it's up right now. If you guys go to marklobliner.com, marklobliner.com, you'll get a pop-up and you sign up for my mailing list. I sent out the first mailing list today where I actually gave a coupon for tigerfitness.com. And it was for 20% off. You go ahead and use it. It's good till tomorrow. It's I'll give it to you guys now, assuming you sign up. Marc Lobliner. The coupon at Tiger Fitness, no morbidity, any ambrosia product, any product there is Lobliner email. Lobliner email. I'm just making sure that's it. Lobliner email. 20% off all products.
Give me a second. I'm going to type that in.
Yep. I did that. I just said it's at marklobliner.com. So go there, sign up. I'm gonna probably every time I have a YouTube video, I'm gonna go ahead and notify people because obviously YouTube doesn't do that for me anymore. And so we're just gonna bypass. My goal is to beat the algorithm.
Yeah.
Yep, here it is. It pops right up. Up.
Awesome.
Sign in, and I appreciate it. I really do. And Alan and me, we talk a lot about our future and what we're going to do and long-term. And, there's one thing we need to do is we need to make sure we can communicate with everybody. And we can't rely on social media to do that. That's why we're getting a good mailing list together. So no matter what happens, you guys get a hold of us.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, everybody. And Mark, man, I'll talk to you soon. And thank you very much.
All right, y'all.
Bye.